Brian Hoyer, do you believe, I asked Adam Schefter this question a few minutes ago, and he kind of laughed at us, even though I don't think he knew the history of the award. Do you believe that Drake Maye is a legitimate MVP candidate in his second NFL season?
Yeah, I do. 6 games in, I mean, the reality is, I know this is like people get caught up on like, what did people do last year, former MVPs, all of that stuff. The reality is, I think it's a two-man race right now. Now, look, there's a lot of football to go and be played, and I would say Baker Mayfield is in the lead, and Drake Maye is right behind him.
Hey, Brian, I'm curious just for, kind of expanding on Drake Maye. He started the season off turning the ball over a lot, and if you kind of count the first two games based off of his last year's performance, he was averaging 1.5 turnovers a game. But through a 6-game sample so far, he's gotten that down to less than half a turnover a game. What are you seeing from Drake Maye that you see that is maybe is leading to less turnovers in his game?
I think confidence, and I think understanding, what the why is to each play. I think the one thing I'm seeing, and having played for Josh McDaniels in that system, is when it's a shot play, he understands it's a shot play, and I'm going to hang in there and try to stay in as long as I can to take the deep shot. When it's a quick drop back, I'm going to get the ball out of my hands. When it's a play action pass, I know what the idea and the intent is behind the play. And I think you're right. Look, that first Raiders game, and like anybody, the first week of the season is always a toss-up. You don't really know what their defense is going to be. They have a new staff. It's your first time running this offense for real. But after that game, he has been lights out and taking ownership. And, I mean, just like I said last week, I think he's taken a 3-year leap. I think after watching the New Orleans game, he's taken it's 4 years of growth in one offseason. And the confidence with which he's playing, this is why people are excited. And look, being a former player for Bill Belichick, what was one of the main rules? Don't fuel or believe the hype. I'm in the media now. I'm going to fuel the hype as much as I want because I love what I see from this kid. And I think he was on, I don't know if it was your show or a different EEI show, but someone mentioned it to him. He goes, shucks, I'm just trying to win football games. That's what I love about him even more. I mean, the kid has the right mentality to basically do what we were always taught to do, is don't believe or fuel the hype and just go out and try to get better each and every week, which is what he's done.
Yep, that was yours truly who asked him that question yesterday.
There you go.
I thought he was appropriately deferential. He's obviously not supposed to come out and be like, yeah, I should be in that GD conversation. I'm going to run this town pretty soon, MFer. But at the same time, you can see his confidence and his comfort growing immensely. And I think one of the things that is helping him as they clear the deck in the offseason, ramp it up and make him comfortable, obviously is the way that Mike Vrabel is handling things. And, Brian, I thought we got our best insight into how Mike Vrabel is running the show. I'm not sure if you saw the @Patriots locker room celebration video where he came in and yelled, hey, turn that blank word up. No way you guys, a lot of things we can coach up. No way you're not celebrating this win. Game balls for everyone. Let's have a fun flight home. Then we'll get to work. It's so different than what we're used to for a coach's post-game video. What do you think about that?
No, I love it. I think that's the former player in Vrabel. And the one thing you love, anybody, whether it's the Rams and the way that they look at Sean McVay, or if it's Dan Campbell in Detroit, what they want is authenticity. And I think that's what you get from Vrabel. He's authentic. He's going to hold you accountable. He's going to call you out when you mess up, but he's also going to encourage you. I know that's the one thing that you guys probably weren't really used to seeing over the years with Bill. Bill, if you did your job, you did your job. I'm not going to praise you for it. Well, Vrabel understands, like, hey, it was a trap game for us. We come off a big win, get home late or early Monday morning, have to travel down to New Orleans. Everyone's saying, New Orleans not very good. Dude, when I watched the game, I was pleasantly surprised by Spencer Rattler and that offense. They were no slouches. And so you go down there and handle business, and there's a lot of things you can improve on. And the fact that the team realizes that they're winning and realizing we're not even playing our best football is great. But to have a coach kind of emphasize, look, it's no game is easy to win in the NFL. Let's celebrate this. We're going to fly back. And trust me, I'm sure Vrabel enjoyed a lot of flights back with wins. Ted, you would know better than me, but I have to imagine he was the ringleader on the bus and in the plane.
I can't believe you said that. No, he was like, especially whenever we played the Steelers. I mean, his guy, his old equipment guys, had cold beers for us. Trust me.
There you go.
That was Vrabel's jam for sure, bud. You got that right. But I got to ask you, Brian, because the focal point of kind of has been, besides Drake Maye, has been the lack of run production. I mean, just 31 attempts at 2.4 per is not very good. Is this running game going to hurt them at the end of the day, or is this something they can kind of still win games without it being as effective as it needs to be?
No, I think, and David Andrews and I were talking about this on our podcast today, and he said the one thing, like, it's actually easier to come together as a new offensive line in pass protection because there's not as much of a changing perspective when you're trying to block. When you're run blocking and you have to double team to the linebacker, and now all of a sudden they shift the front, there's a lot of things that go into it. And the one thing I would say is I appreciate that Josh isn't abandoning it. And the one thing, and now that this offense has kind of changed and incorporated a little bit more of a West Coast feel because of what Drake can do with moving the pocket and all of those things, I'll never forget Kyle Shanahan explaining his offense to me. He said, look, even if I'm only averaging 2.5 a carry, I'm going to run the ball 30 times a game because if I can get 4 or 5 explosive play action passes off of the run action and the defense having to honor it, I'll chalk that up and add that to our run total a little bit. And so I think at some point it will kind of come together and these runs will start to pop. And I think there's also a little bit of, look, Mondre doesn't want to fumble the ball, so he's been extra careful. He's not really holding it loose. And as you know, Ted, like, you can't run the fastest then. You can't make those cuts. And so there's a little bit of timidness there, too, to make sure he secures the football. So I think the further we get away from the fumbles, the more that they continue to work together, I think the run game will start to pop. That's always been a huge emphasis for Josh. But just the threat of the running game, that he's going to run the ball, allows you. I mean, the first touchdown of the game is a half-roll play-action pass, and the defense is overselling. Pop runs a great corner post route, and it's a big touchdown. So you have to factor that in a little bit. I know that's not what we're used to with Josh's offense, but this is a little bit different style than what we've been accustomed to watch.
Brian, as you referenced, we talked to Drake Maye yesterday about a lot of things, and when we asked him about officiating, and obviously there was a lot of attention on that offensive pass interference call that wiped out the touchdown to Pop Douglas, that was a very late flag. He kind of joked that as he matures or gets experience, he wants to go at the officials maybe a little bit more and lobby for things. Is that something that quarterbacks do and can be successful at as they mature, working the referees and sort of complaining / manipulating it to get calls down the road?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think any established quarterback, you play enough, you see these guys enough, and you start to garner these relationships. And look, he's not Tom Brady, he's not Peyton Manning, he's not Patrick Mahomes, not Josh Allen yet, but I think it's a good idea for him as the leader of the team to start building that. I mean, I had some refs that we got along great. I had some refs, I try to talk to them, they basically tell me STFU. Like, it's just a matter of who you're dealing with and the respect that you're going to get. But the one thing that I liked is, look, these penalties were horrendous, but the team didn't waver. They just got, all right, fine, we'll go out and figure out a different way to do it. And so, the touchdown to Pop gets called back, which, by the way, talk about effort and hustle and a good teammate. Mondre, I know it gets called back, but hustles all the way down to the goal line to make the block that Pop gets into the end zone. So it shows you where the team is because they have the maturity to move on and say, okay, we'll just get the next one. And I really like that.
All right, so if you got to play armchair GM or work with Stretch, Cowden, and Vrabel as we oddly near the trade deadline, it's too damn early in the NFL, but as we come a little bit closer, Brian, you can choose between a running back, a wide receiver, offensive lineman, maybe a backup corner. What would be the one thing you would target if you could in a trade for the Patriots?
Yeah, it's hard. I think everyone, myself included, looks at A.J. Brown down in Philly and says he's disgruntled, it's not going well, he's got a good relationship with Vrabel. But I really like where this wide receiver room is, and I don't know, by injecting him in, what does that do? Could it be positive? Yeah, but could it cause a little bit of drama? Sure. I mean, look at what Kayshon Boutte did. I love how far he's come in the last year. Diggs has obviously become a go-to guy. Mac Hollins is getting involved. So is Pop Douglas. We saw some targets to Kyle Williams. So I really like that room. I think the one thing, especially with Antonio Gibson being out, I mean, is there a running back out there, maybe a guy who's played for Vrabel before, Derrick Henry, for instance, with the Ravens kind of floundering? Would they be willing to part ways with him? And could you imagine adding him to this rushing attack? The other one that you didn't really mention is maybe an edge rusher like a Trey Hendrickson, because I think you got to look at teams that are kind of out of it, and they have these guys that maybe they'd be willing to stock up picks for next year. But the one thing I would say is, and I think this is Vrabel's mentality, you see it by going on fourth down, the way he coaches, I think it's a time to be aggressive. I think this team has shown that they're ready to win now. You don't have to wait till next year. You have a quarterback who's playing as a top 5 guy in the league on a rookie contract. I would be shocked if they don't make some moves to really try to improve this team and make a run at it this year.
Man, I'm with you. Give me an edge rusher all day, okay? Brian, we got to have a little State of the Union address, all right?
Okay.
What are the expectations for this team at 4-2? Because you famously said at the beginning of September that the Patriots
I got laughed at.
They will win?
Win total should be somewhere between 8 and 11 games.
8 and 11 games. I just want to. Do you want to narrow that down, or how are you feeling about the team at this point and what the expectations are moving forward?
I just want to go on record. People laughed at me and criticized me for that, and now here we are halfway to my floor of their win total. David Andrews on our podcast today said 13 wins or bust. That's what they're calling for. So I'm going to say I'm going to narrow it now between 10 and 12 wins. When you look at their schedule, when you look at exactly how they've done it, they've improved each and every week. And if they go out and get somebody who's a legit mover of the frequency type of player, whether it's a defensive end, a running back, whoever it is, I really do think, you look at the state of the AFC, it's prime for the taking. So, look, they got to go out and handle business. I think there's some trap games. I've been on teams where the coach is fired and the next week you get a surge of energy and you go out and surprise the world. So they need to go down and handle business in Tennessee, but the schedule is favorable, and I think they just need to stay on track and really adapt their starting quarterback's mentality. Oh, shucks, we haven't done nothing yet. We're just trying to get better and see where they are after Thanksgiving.
All right, I'm going to let you go on this. I'm going to ask you a question I haven't even asked Ted yet, and I'm interested in your response. It was a poll I put out on Twitter today. What is more likely at this point? What is more likely? Those are the key words in this. The Patriots make it to the AFC title game, or they miss the playoffs?
Oh, make it to the AFC title game.
Oh, I like it. Let's go.
No, I just look, I think they're too well coached. Vrabel has them too focused. Josh is doing such a good job with Drake, and Drake is playing at such a high level. Even if there's a little bit of a regression, he's still playing as a top 10 quarterback. This guy, he's doing things that's it's like Marino, Mahomes, and I don't even know who else. He's doing things that are very rarely done. He's got the right mentality, and I think the team. You see the guys mic'd up on the sideline talking about Drake. They believe in him. They have to start to get that feeling like, hey, we got the quarterback. We can expect to win every game, and that carries a lot of weight.
All right, Brian. I believe we owe you a belated happy birthday.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And did you celebrate on the pickleball court? Did I also see that on my social media?
No, that was an old clip, and our producer Danny Healy tries to come at me and says I'm washed up, and I was 40 yesterday, so he said I'm officially washed.
I was going to say, tell me it's your 40s without saying I'm 40. Jeez, Hoyer.
Yeah. I didn't know how to. That was at Gronk's pickle event. I didn't even know how to play pickleball. I was getting yelled at for going in the kitchen. I don't even know what the hell that means.
All right, Brian.
I'm still young at heart.
All right. Happy birthday. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully we're talking about another win next week.
Thanks, buddy.